slideshow from beginning. Okay, so here's the PowerPoint. So the first thing when you think about some type of outreach crisis team is that they exist on so many levels and that they can be anything from like how Red Cross and FEMA is a very national level to a very community centered just in a school system itself, like one school system, just in an agency itself, or just working with certain populations or certain reasons. So this can be very, very broad or very, very narrow. That's a decision that you get to make. Different styles of that are going to look like crisis call centers, virtual crisis disasters, crisis mobile teams, partnerships in the community, and community outreach. So for crisis call centers, um, the one thing that me and Arlinda was talking about was the new national uh, crisis line for suicide is the 988, but there's many other ones on those as well. Um, what are your thoughts on some of these, Arlinda?
Well, I think it's important to point out for us to be in the profession we are that I think 988 is important, but 911 is also still a universal call for help. I think we want to point out that 911 is also still it's still a part of the arsenal in case you're in a position where you really don't know what to do. So 988 is the new number that, of course, with mental health being becoming more well established and more recognized as a discipline that is much needed in society, they are adding new resources. But if you're ever in a situation that things are happening and panic is occurring, just remember that 911 is still your first go-to. Um,
Right.
and in virtual, they're even dealing differently with virtual crisis. They have different platforms in your state. I would advise you to look up different platforms where you can also text and go into virtual lobbies where clients can be seen just for situations that are happening right there on the spot and you can't currently treat. So just being aware of that.
So if I was a student and I was trying to create a program that provided more support, then I might actually have a connection with a 988 or a 911 system to where I might be a point of contact for them to provide the service that I want to provide in my community on a more local level.
Definitely. And also, as a supervisor of your own program and making sure that you're training your employees and your workers and your trainees to understand that there is help out there. These national, crisis lines and crisis teams, they exist to assist us with these type of circumstances.
Yeah, and I would say that some of these more national ones are probably really good sources of where we can get trainings for our people that do deliver it on a different level or a less national level. But those they would have those trainings available for us to learn how to do those skills even better.
Yes, I definitely would agree because as a student myself, I'm learning these things from teaching you all. I'm learning as well what resources are out there. And it has prompted me to look both nationally and locally so that I can have those resources in my arsenal.
Yeah. And so when it comes to disasters, disasters can be man-made disasters, like things that are human provoked,
Poisoning.
yeah, school violence, those
Yes.
kind of things. And then you've got natural disasters, things that are out of our control. We've had a lot of things going on recently that are natural disasters, whether it's to do with flooding or hurricanes, and those cause crisis services, not just a physical impact on the environment, but also what it does to people and the losses that they have because of those natural disasters.
An American Red Cross is national. One of the things about American Red Cross and things like that is that they do a lot to support people in all types of disasters, not just natural disasters. They assist people with resources for health benefits. They assist people with resources for all kinds of things. So I would strongly urge you to become familiar with that particular organization as well, especially if you're dealing with the only way military individuals can be contacted while they are out on tour is through the American Red Cross.
Oh, that's good information to know if you didn't know that.
Mhm.
Um, so crisis mobile teams, those are often teams like I've worked crisis mobile team myself, and part of that was sometimes I would get called out to. I worked for the community service board, and I would get called out to schools, sometimes jails. Sometimes I would be in people's homes, and sometimes people would come to our office. But as a crisis mobile team, I had to do things like screening for hospitalization to see if somebody needed to go to the hospital if they met the criteria for hospitalization. So that's one example of something I'm familiar with like a crisis mobile team. Um,
One of the biggest things about crisis mobile teams that I want everyone to be aware of is a lot of policemen they call the crisis mobile team in situations in the community where the client is experiencing some type of breakdown and they don't know what to do. So always be aware that a lot of those teams are there to benefit other community outreach services as well.
and
We're
that,
there. We're
yeah,
there for that. Go ahead. I'm
and I
sorry.
was just going to say that falls right into the crisis response partnerships because
Yes.
you might have a team that goes out with um, the fire department or police officers, whether it's something to do with debriefing because of the crisis that occurred or just to help handle the situation with
Yes.
aspect of mental health.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So community outreach has many faces, many forms, many different values. And when you're trying to figure out what you want to develop for your agency, that needs to be very individualized on based on the agency you've already created and what type of services they're providing.
Hmm. Yes.
For those individuals that are going to be charged, so you might have people that are licensed, people that are trained, people, and even getting your license and being a clinical license provider does not mean that you're fully equipped for all these different types of roles in crisis management or outreach. And so part of what you're going to be writing up and thinking about is what extra do these people need in many ways of support and what are the responsibilities, what type of training they need, what type of services are they providing? Is it an immediate need service? Is it a short term service? Um, and who are they providing? Who is their clients? So, who are they going to be working with? Are they going to be working with the victims of a disaster, or are they going to be working with in tandem with other emergency responders like Orlando just was talking about? Or are they going to be working with victims, uh, the families of these victims, needing debrief? Maybe they witnessed something horrific. Or are you going to be providing support to those people that are on the front lines that are risking their lives? Their families can't reach them, and they're concerned about their family members that are trying to be a member of these responses, like the fire department, police department, different things, military families, and giving support to them. So you have to know who that plan, that piece of your organization, who they are, what they need, and who are they providing services to, and what that looks like.
And just remembering that the more resources you have for your employees and for your trainees and the people that are working with you, I think that's going to provide the best continuity of care. It keeps you and the client both working in the best possible space for safety, for resources, for everything that you're providing for that individual.
Right. And when you think about having to, your job is basically dealing with crisis situations, that's heavy. Like that takes a toll on a person. And if you're the clinical supervisor or administrator of this program, you also have to take into account of how you're making sure that your clients, or I'm sorry, not your clients, your supervisees and your employees are not only trained well and do what they do, but that they're taking care of themselves,
Hmm.
and that you want to monitor. How do you monitor for like um, how well they're handling all of the worst days of someone's life, how do they, what are they, how are they compartmentalizing that? How are they processing that? What is the support systems that you're giving them to monitor for like vicarious traumatization or re-traumatization because of all of the stuff that they've had to deal with?
And I would like to see you guys implement some of that work into your program. I think it's so important because we all, as professional counselors, we say that we do self-care, but do we really do all the care for ourselves that we do for others? So I would really like to see you guys implement something in your program. If it's one day where we have a party or a social event, what one day where a physical trainer comes in and teaches meditation, something that allows your employees to feel valued enough for them to want to take care of themselves the way they do others.
Yeah. No, that's such an important, such a valuable tip there because the worst thing about us as a profession is we are the worst about asking for help when we need it for ourselves.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. So that is all of Module 5. I look forward to reading what your disaster plans are going to look like and how you're going to make this a better world in your development of an agency. And we'll see you in Module 6.
And I look forward to hearing from everyone. And please just don't forget that after you've just experienced a trauma, please implement some sort of wellness for your employees. I look forward to reading what you can be creative in helping someone care for themselves.